If you've ever wanted to start a YouTube channel but keep hesitating, this video is for you. So to unpack all of this and help you move forward on your YouTube journey, we first need to understand what are some of the common problems, what are some of the common reasons for people not starting, because you're probably going to have felt some of these yourself. So first of all, it's a lot of these things that hold people back. It's fear. It's all fear based. Okay, so we have to understand that a lot of it is based on fear, and how can we overcome that? So people are afraid of being judged. Okay, that's a natural thing. We're all afraid of being judged. We're afraid of looking stupid. We don't want to put ourselves out there and have other people point at us and laugh at us and comment negatively about us and try and tear us down. So we're afraid of that. Okay, that's one of the most common reasons why people never start their YouTube channel. Another common reason is perfectionism. Now, I'm completely guilty of this. I'm guilty of the fear. I'm guilty of being a perfectionist. It's something I've struggled with, not only starting my YouTube channel or channels, which I'll get into later, or even my business pursuits, being self-employed, being a one-person business owner for the past decade, past 10 years, I've struggled with perfectionism. So we all want it to be just right, okay? But what does that even look like? What does just right even look like? What does the perfect video even look like? And even if you make a perfect video for you, that might not necessarily be a perfect video for the audience, okay? It's all subjective. So that is something that holds us back, that stops us from actually creating content. Another common reason why people never start is overwhelm, okay? This is so prevalent nowadays. There's so much information. People tell you do this, and then other people say, no, don't do that, do this. And there's so many voices out there. Who do you listen to? Who on earth do you listen to? You have to really just pursue your own path. You have to find these things out for yourself, because what might have worked for one person may not necessarily work for you. And they might think that that is the reason that it all worked for them, but they might actually be completely wrong, okay? It could have just been another factor. So let's forget about all of the voices out there. Let's look at the fundamental principles, okay? You have to actually show up. You have to put out content. You have to get over that fear. Whatever limiting belief it is you hold, you have to start putting out content. That's the first step. It's the hardest thing that you can do, but it's the first step. Now you've got the ball rolling, and now you're going to use experimentation. You're going to play about, and you're going to see what works and what doesn't. You're going to find out for yourself. You're going to be like a pioneer. You're going to be discovering what works for you and what works for your channel and what works for your audience. Forget about what everybody else is saying. Even me in this video, okay? Take it all with a pinch of salt. Focus on building your channel, putting out your content, and understanding what works for you and what doesn't. And then another common reason people don't start their YouTube channel or their YouTube journey, again, it comes back to fear. It's all about fear. Fear of failure. We don't want to fail, or fear of wasting time. So time is your most valuable resource. It's limited, it's finite. We don't want to spend years and years and years working on a YouTube channel and not for it to reach the dream outcome or the result that we wanted when we started, okay? We're all afraid of that. We're all afraid of putting in this time and effort, but don't get the results that we want. And we're also afraid of failing. We're afraid of putting in the work, and, you know, our friends and family and our audience and people all around us see, gosh, you know, he's still doing that YouTube channel. He's not getting any views. He's not getting any subscribers. That dude's failed. But that's just a hard reality of life, is that if you want to live a life, you're going to have to make a lot of failures. You're going to have to become comfortable making failures, because let's say we don't put ourselves out there and we're so afraid of failing that we decide to just do nothing. What does that life look like? Doesn't look very exciting to me. You just want to exist? No. You want to live, okay? I know that. You know that. You want to live. You want to push yourself. And in order to succeed, you're gonna have to fail. There's just no two ways about it. So let me tell you a little bit about my personal experience with hesitation, because I've felt all of these, I've had all of these reasons to stop me from doing it, but there's actually a few other reasons why I hesitated in putting out content. So I've wanted to create content for a long time. I've only recently started creating content and putting content out on YouTube. Only 6 months ago, I started my first channel. It's a travel-based channel. Me and my wife, we got married last year. We decided to go on a honeymoon. We went and did this crazy trip, almost like once in a lifetime. I don't know if we'll ever repeat it again. It was phenomenal. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to document this trip just even for us, okay? I've at least got that in the can for us, for me and my wife. But I knew in the back of my head, this was something that other people would be interested in, okay? So I knew that I could share that with other people if I wanted to. So that's what got me on this journey. But for like the previous 10 years or more before that, I've wanted to create content. There's a whole load of reasons that I've told myself that stopped me from doing it. So what are they? So I told myself that I wasn't good enough. Okay? I'm not good enough. Not good enough to do this. I'm not like these other people on YouTube. I'm not like these other people putting out content. Look at where they are. Where am I? I'm not good enough. Who's going to listen to me? What do I have to offer? I haven't lived enough. That was another reason I told myself. I've not experienced enough. I don't have enough value to offer other people. Okay, again, another limiting belief. And I also let my voice stop me from posting content. And this is super common. Super common. I'm not American. Okay? I'm not your typical YouTuber. I'm some Scottish guy. Who's going to listen to this random Scottish guy on YouTube when there's all these Americans and all these people who have like pleasing voices to listen to? And that was like reinforced from like the start of my creative journey. So before I got into being like a one-person business owner and being self-employed and having various businesses for the past 10 years, before that, my sort of creative journey started at college when I studied filmmaking. And I actually was told by a lecturer, so one of the tasks that we had was to create a documentary, a little mini documentary. And part of that, I decided that I was going to do a voiceover, okay? I was going to record audio with a microphone. I was going to narrate the story and do a voiceover. And the feedback I got from the lecturer was, you should never do any voice work ever again in the future because you have a boring, monotone voice and no one's going to want to listen to you. And that really struck a chord. I will never forget that. Never forget that. I don't know if I regret or I don't hate the lecturer for having saying that. I don't necessarily think that was the right thing to say, but also in a way I don't necessarily regret that he said that, because in a weird way I've kind of twisted it around and been like, oh okay, like that's what you think, I'll prove you wrong. But I didn't think that for a long period of time. For a long period of time I thought to myself, who's going to listen to me? My voice is holding me back and I can't really change my voice. But that's completely wrong, because you can train your voice to sound differently. But you can also just accept that your voice is your voice. You can just accept that. It's like anything that we're self-conscious about. We tend to be our worst critics. And when it comes to your voice, because I just want to talk about this just briefly, but because it's such a common issue, it's such a common reason why people don't do YouTube. But we can't expect everybody to like our voice, okay? You don't like all of the voices out there. There's some voices that you're drawn to, and there's others that you would rather not hear. But people can get used to your voice as well. And there's lots of people out there who do watch channels, they do watch people's channels where they don't necessarily like the voice, but the content is so valuable that they're willing to look past that. Okay? So it really isn't as big of an issue as you're making out. And I actually got some great feedback on my travel channel where early on it was really good, because I'm not going to lie, I was worried that people were going to bring this up and say, you know, we don't like your voice, blah, blah, blah. But I actually got the opposite. I got compliments on my voice, and that was just fantastic. And that just completely crumbled any of those limiting beliefs that I'd put on myself. So that's a bit about my personal experience, about the things that held me back from starting a YouTube channel, and I've been able to overcome them. So here's the truth. Here's the truth. No one is watching at the start. Okay? That might sound bad, but it's the truth. No one's watching at the start. That is actually a blessing. It is not a curse. Okay? So no one's watching. You're not going to put out, it's so unlikely that you're going to put out your first video or your first 10 videos, even your first 100 videos, and one of them is going to go viral and everyone's going to see you and you're going to get all these hate comments. It's incredibly unlikely. The chances are, the content that you put out, no one is going to watch it at the start, okay? And that's good. That allows you to put yourself out there, to feel uncomfortable, but start to become comfortable feeling uncomfortable. And over time, that discomfort is going to dissolve. I had this exact same experience when doing my first videos for the travel channel. There was sections, so obviously we filmed our honeymoon, so there was obviously a lot of content that was filmed on the fly, but I then, because we didn't necessarily plan it out and we were just sort of like capturing what was happening, and we weren't like, oh, we have this specific video idea, so we need to film this and film that and put it all together. Like, it wasn't pre-planned, we were just winging it. And then after the fact, I was then creating these videos from it and trying to carve a storyline out of it. I then had to do voice work. I had to do voiceovers, and I'm not going to lie, when I was sitting down or standing up to do the voiceover, it took me back to that experience that I had with that college lecturer. You know, when I would go to deliver my lines, okay, to perform, I would have that voice in the back of my head that no one's going to like your voice. And I felt uncomfortable doing it. I felt uncomfortable doing the voiceover. Now, because I've done it so much, I can just whip out the microphone, set up my recording stuff, have my script, and just read off of it, okay? I don't even think about it. I don't have like a nervous energy or, you know, start to feel anxious about it, because I've done it. I've put in the reps, but you have to start. You have to start in order to move past that discomfort, and it will start to dissolve over time. So some of the common things that people think that you need to start a YouTube channel, you actually don't. You don't need these things. So you don't need fancy gear. You really don't. I'm shooting this. I've got a studio microphone. It's not the most expensive microphone, but I've still spent money on it. I have studio lighting. I'm using some natural light. That's fine. That's free. That's great. I have a tripod. I inherited this stuff from back in my filmmaking days, and I'm shooting on an iPhone, okay? So I'm being a bit hypocritical here, but when I started the travel channel and we documented that, everything we shot was on an iPhone. Everything was just shot on our phone that we had with us. We didn't have any fancy microphones. We didn't have any studio lighting. It wasn't required anyway because we were out and about. We didn't have any professional tripod. We just had like a wee tiny like little tripod thing that maybe cost like £10 or $10 or what have you. Really inexpensive, and we didn't even use that. I actually kind of wish that I'd used it more, especially for the vloggy type stuff, because looking back now, a lot of the footage when I'm talking to camera and kind of vlogging, it's a bit too close. I'm a bit right up at the camera, and it maybe would have been nicer to just use that little small handheld tripod to give a bit of distance, but that's all in hindsight. But really, we just shot it all on our iPhones, okay? That's all we used. And even if you were doing like a talking head video like this, you could make a makeshift tripod. I've done it in the past. I was literally, if you go and look at one of my previous videos, I was in Ireland visiting my parents. I wanted to shoot a video, didn't have a tripod, didn't have anything, so I used a tree stump. I used a tree stump to put the phone on, and then I used a little branch behind it to stop it from falling over. That was my tripod. It was free. Okay, you could do the same thing with some books and something else. You can make it work. In terms of audio, you don't need the fancy microphone. You know, all of the audio that we captured on the travel vlog was directly the audio from the phone. And even if you've got lots of background noise and stuff like that, there's tools out there like Adobe Podcast. That, I believe it is a free tool. I do pay for the Adobe suite, so I've got access to the more premium features, but Adobe Podcast, you can take your audio, put it in there, and if you've got, say you're filming in a noisy location and maybe there's traffic, you know, there's construction going on nearby and there's lots of noises that you don't want to be in the audio, you can use their tool. They basically have a voice enhancing tool and they have a background noise removal tool, super intuitive, just little sliders that you use and you can play about with it and see, you know, get the right balance. That's totally free and it makes your audio sound super professional if you get the balance right. Okay, so you don't need a lot of money, you just need a phone to get started. That's all you need. Most, like all phones these days, even phones that are like years old, they all shoot in 1080p. You don't need to shoot in 4K. Okay, yeah, there's more people watching YouTube on their TV screens, but you don't have to be in 4K unless your content is about showing something so clear and so crisp. Maybe you need 4K then, but for most people, 1080p is fine. Okay, standard high definition is totally fine. So you don't need fancy gear. You also don't need a niche locked down. Okay, you don't need a niche locked down. It's good to start with an idea of like what your niche is or what your theme is. Okay, for your content or for your channel, it's good to start with an idea, but that can change. You can pivot as you go. You have the fortune of doing that early on. For people who maybe have an established channel and they have an audience based around a certain theme, a certain niche, and then maybe they change, as we all do over time, and they want to create content on a different theme, a different niche, some of them really struggle to then pivot and change the content on that channel because the audience that they grew doesn't want this new like theme. They're not interested in this new theme. So normally people have to start from scratch. They have to go and create a new channel and start from scratch. But when you start out, you've got the ability to basically pivot and try different themes. Now, it is going to slow down your growth because it's going to take longer for YouTube to understand, okay, who is this content for? You know, what is the audience? But you are allowed to experiment with that. You can experiment with it. And ideally, once you find the right theme, the right niche that you want to create content on, then you can just focus all of your content around that niche and that theme. And YouTube's then going to understand, okay, this is who this piece of content is for. This is the avatar. This is the type of person that we should show this piece of content to. You don't also need viral ideas. You really don't, okay? Your video can be super simple. Look at some of like I try and not consume like short form content on social media, especially now that I'm creating more. I'm just trying to make up for all of the time I spent consuming content and I'm trying to create so much more now and not consume. But look at the content out there, like short form content, like even stuff that goes viral or gets seen by a lot of people. Like a lot of it is really basic, it's really simple, it's kind of random. Okay, you don't need viral ideas. We're not looking to go viral. That shouldn't really be your goal. Your goal is to start your YouTube channel and to make it sustainable over the long term. Okay, so we don't need viral ideas for that. What we need is just a consistent bank of ideas that we can work through. So we make one video and then we make the next one and we make the next one and the next one. Okay, we don't need a viral video idea. You don't need it to start. Okay, so what do you need? What do you actually need? Well, first of all, you need a reason to actually create, okay? You need to understand, why are you doing this? Why do you want to start a YouTube channel? Why do you want to create content? If you want to do this for the long term, if you want to do this for years, why are you doing it? You need that. You need to understand what that why is, because that is like your North Star. Okay, it's going to keep you aligned on your journey. It's the thing that you focus on when times get tough and you make a video and it flops. You can remind yourself of your why, and that is going to motivate you to keep going, okay, to look ahead. We need a why. Someone said it, some famous philosopher, I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, but something like, with a why I can bear anyhow. Something like that, okay? If you have a strong enough reason for doing something, you'll figure out how to do it, okay? So write down after this video, why is it? Why do I want to create a YouTube channel? Why do I want to start a YouTube channel? And really, like, the first thing that you write, like, go deeper on it, okay? Challenge that answer, because you might find that deep down, you might be like, okay, well, I want to start a YouTube channel because I want to grow an audience, okay? It's like, well, is that really the real reason? Maybe there's a deeper answer there. Maybe it's because you have a passion for a particular subject that you want to share with the world, okay? And a byproduct of doing so is you're going to grow an audience by doing that, okay? But that's the real reason why, not, oh, I want to grow an audience. It's no, I'm actually passionate about this thing and I want to connect with like minds. I want to share that with the world because we can do that now, you know? That's your why, that's your guiding force. You also need to be willing to suck. You need to be willing to suck at first, okay? You're gonna get better over time, but you have to be willing and ready to suck at first. Any new like skill that we try to acquire, any new pursuit, we always start as a beginner. We can't skip those stages. It's not like the Matrix where we can phone up, dial in, I want to know how to speak Japanese now. I want to be fluent. Doesn't happen that way. You have to make mistakes. You have to be messy. You have to fail. You have to suck at it. Okay, so you have to be willing to suck. It's okay to suck. That's cool. It means that you're now on the path rather than just doing nothing about it. Okay, you're not going to make any progress if you do nothing. Okay, so you want to be willing to suck. And ultimately, you have to be ready to take action. You have to be completely 100% ready to just take action. Just hit upload. Just hit that button, just click it. Make the video and hit upload. Do you know how many people have been so close to starting their YouTube channel? Like, they've made their first video, they've put in the time and effort, and then one of these fears creeps in before they hit upload. They're like, oh, what if I get judged? What are people gonna say? Oh, I'm gonna get all these hate comments, you know? Oh, my voice is, no one's gonna listen to me. So they don't hit upload and they forget about it and their dream never materializes. And fear has won at that point. Fear has won and you've lost. And that's really sad. It's really sad because you're better than that. You're better than that. You can do it. Push past that fear. That fear is good because it's a reminder that you're doing something important. Okay? That's why we all naturally feel fear. Our body has an instinct that we're in danger. Our mind has an instinct that we're in danger. And a lot of these dangers, they're not real threats. It's not like there's a lion in the bush or a tiger in the bush ready to take us out. There's people out there who are going to judge us. There's people out there who are going to look at us and comment on us, okay? It's a mental fear, but a social fear, but we have to get over that. We have to push past that fear in order to actually create, in order to make progress on the path that you want for your life. So starting is the hardest part. It really is. The toughest thing you can do is start. So the thing you're about to do, that is the hardest thing you can do. Once you've done that, everything else is going to be a lot easier, okay? It's just getting started. It's the toughest thing. Most people don't do it. You know, that's just the reality of it. Most people don't do it, but you can. And if you do, you're already ahead, okay? You're already miles ahead because there's so many people that just don't do it, but you can do it and you will be miles ahead of the rest. So comment below, what is it that's holding you back from uploading your first YouTube video, okay? I want to know, what is it that's holding you back? Is it your voice? Are you a perfectionist? Are you afraid of people judging you? Are you afraid of like your friends and family finding your channel and judging you and making fun of you? Do you think you're not good enough? Do you think you don't have any value to offer? What is it that's holding you back? Comment down below. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace.